It's like when everyone was pumped up in 2020.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
It was really a great night. We plugged in to the national broadcast that Real America's Voice News took the feed from CNN because CNN doesn't have any viewers, so they farmed it out to every media. There was like 80 million viewers of that debate, right?
Yeah, it was a big debate, and it had very big implications for this political race. It was
Big
like a political
implications,
earthquake.
Big implications, a lot going on right now. But we plugged into Real America's Voice News for the watch party here. We were on the ground in Atlanta with Brian Gren, our new national campaign correspondent for Real America's Voice News. And then yesterday, Rav was on the ground in Connecticut. We'll get into that while Bannon was sent to Danbury, Connecticut Federal Prison, Federal Correctional Facility. Looks like the right is under assault. What do you think, Terry?
We've been under assault, and the Bannon thing yesterday was very hard to watch.
Yeah.
It just was.
Yeah, it was. What are your thoughts about it, Nick?
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Nobody's above the law except for John Brennan and James Clapper,
And the 51
Hillary Clinton,
intelligence
James
people.
Comey,
Yeah.
and the list goes on and on. So it doesn't surprise me. I've been warning about the weaponization of government for a long time, and we're seeing it in full
So
effect.
it was only, I think, the second person since like 1940 to be sent to prison for a misdemeanor for this, type of charge.
Well, the other person was Peter Navarro, another person.
No, before that, there was one other, right? Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous. I mean, Eric Holder was found in contempt of Congress. You had Lois Lerner found in contempt of Congress for the IRS. It's a complete joke. Merrick Garland, contempt of Congress.
Yeah, and
these people just defy
if
the rule
anything
of law.
happens with Garland, right?
I don't anticipate anything's going to happen with him because it's the same story that we've witnessed over the last several years, where there's one set of rules for Republicans and conservatives, and then a whole other set of rules for Democrats, and they get away with these types
Well,
of
the
things.
Democrats control the institutional bureaucracy, the administrative state. It's probably 3-1, 4-1 in any government agency in Washington.
About 93% of the donations from the Department of Justice go to Democrat candidates, and it's astounding.
In
because
2016, 91% went to Hillary.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm a professor of political science at a college. I am someone that speaks out on conservative issues, conservative values, but I don't donate to political campaigns because it's public information, and my students shouldn't see if I have a stake in any political candidate. Where Democrats just don't care. They'll show it.
Yeah.
They do have a political stake. And I know it's obviously they're allowed to make these donations, but there's also a thing called good judgment when you're in these positions of power.
And I don't have a problem with them donating, but it just shows you where they're coming from. And the people they're supporting are, kind of heinous.
Well, I wanted to say, Nick, if you want to donate to Donald Trump, just Zelle me, Venmo me. I'll donate for you. I don't care who sees that. But I do think they are doubling down now. I think they know their days. I really think they're getting very nervous with all the new rulings coming out and all the people that are fighting on the grassroots level and the election coming. And I think they are going to double down now, and they're just going to keep doing these erroneous, charges and
We
stuff.
had, between Charlie Kirk and Jack Posobiec, I think the other night, we had like 9 to 12 million viewers on Real America's Voice. It was just an amazing night. I just wanted to make some commentary on Bannon. I was at the Trump-Hannity Town Hall in Cleveland with Pastor Darrell Scott at his church in 2016, in August of 2016, and the Trump campaign didn't really have a lot of magnitude at that point. You had Manafort was just let go. He was brought in for 8 weeks to get involved in the primary process, and then Bannon came on board. And I left that Trump-Hannity town hall kind of encouraged because there was a lot of minorities and a lot of people who were like coming out for Trump in Cleveland. And I drove back. I flew out there, but I drove back with my friend Adam Weiss, who's a media consultant for 30 years. We've been working together. And we passed every farmhouse in Pennsylvania, maybe 1 in 4, 1 in 5 farmhouses we passed along the interstate had Trump signs, Trump banners on it.
They still do.
Which was very cool. And I noticed the sea change going on. And Bannon had the show on Breitbart starting that summer. And he turned the tide, I believe, for the election and got Donald Trump elected. And I was in the Soviet Union in 1986. And I knew the administrative state was coming here because they had tanks in the street. My sister's new husband from Moscow, she was the only person to ever get a Soviet citizen out of the country through marriage. It took several years,
Oh,
but
really?
her family was dragged out of their house for their political views and for buying Western goods on the black market, like a refrigerator or a toaster,
Jeans.
God forbid, right? And, that's what's coming here, and that's what's here now. And Bannon has really gotten that message out. And just one more point, traveling across America to about 40 states with Real America's Voice News, I've interviewed or talked with thousands and thousands of people over the past 5.5 years for Real America's Voice. And 3/4 of them, the first thing out of their mouth is, I'm a member of the War Room Posse.
That's awesome.
So Bannon has definitely had an effect and an impact.
Oh, he
tapping
was
into that
trailblazing.
well.
Hence the
Absolutely.
reason they want to get rid of him for the next 4 months until the election. I mean, it's very obvious what they're doing. They don't hide it. The Democrats don't pretend anymore. It's clear what they're doing. And listen, last Thursday at the debate, it was exposed that the bureaucracy itself and the media has been engaged in a several years of conspiracy and cover-up trying to prop up this man.
So, all right, let's talk about the debate quickly. They don't know how to process this. The day before, everyone's saying, including Scarborough, Biden is sharp. Biden has mental acuity. Biden can
Best
take on.
Biden ever.
He has veritas. he has gravitas. He's got geopolitics, a grasp on the international scene.
It's delusional. I mean, my 5-year-old nephew would tell you that he's not cognitively sound. I don't understand. I mean.
But it was outside the window of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh, right.
So,
I know. Well, you could tell they give
the
him
best
something.
Biden ever is between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., which that's a joke because we've all seen his gaffes in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But it's completely ludicrous. And to say that he had one bad night, listen, it's
Said
you
bad
can't
4
deny
years.
that it's Alzheimer's or dementia or some form of type of mental decline. And at this stage of the game, it's not like you recover and get better each
seems
day.
like it's
You only get worse.
accelerated.
Well, it does. And towards the end, it accelerates even
I
faster.
think in the last 4 months, it's gotten really bad.
Well, anyone that's been paying attention knows it's been bad for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, when he starts rambling off.
But now he's got like a hollow look, like a jack-o'-lantern.
But listen, when he was shaking hands with ghosts that weren't there, that should have been the telltale sign. My mother suffered from dementia.
I see dead people.
And he has the same beady eyes that stare into nowhere, the blank stare that
Yeah.
she had. Now, I'm not saying he has dementia, but it would be nice if we got a cognitive test to show whether or not
He
where
has
it's coming
dementia.
from.
He absolutely has dementia. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I cared for a dementia patient, and absolutely.
Well, he had a part of his brain removed during an aneurysm. About
2
that.
aneurysms
Right,
he had.
2, right? So, actually, I had a Biden moment on the air last night. I forgot one of my granddaughter's names on TV. I haven't heard the end of it since then. So, what's going on now is the media is convulsing. The mainstream media
Is in CYA mode?
I believe that this was a setup. I think this was a litmus test for Biden, and after 35 minutes, they hit the button. Okay, cue the next candidate. What do you think? Are they going to replace him at the convention?
I said a year ago that I would look at Hillary Clinton, that I would pay attention to her. I started seeing Hillary make more appearances, and she does that. She's very calculated. And I saw what was going on within the Democrat Party. I saw what was happening with Biden, and it's gotten progressively worse. And then when they announced that this debate is going to be held even before the convention,
Well, that's why I'm saying that.
you know, a lot of people say, well, it's only Biden can make the decision. That's a lie. Okay, the party bosses will decide who the Democrat nominee is.
And I've been on that train for about a year and a half. I was interviewing Joel Gilbert a year and a half ago. Michelle Obama has political ambitions. Don't
I
let
think it's
anyone
Obama.
fool you that she doesn't. And if it's her or not, regardless, she's got 120 million social media followers. She has a get out the vote effort. She has 2 books written, just like Barack did. She spoke at the convention 4 years ago, just like Barack did before he ran. The convention's in her home state. You see, and she follows Valerie Jarrett, and her idol is Bernadine Dorn, The Politics of Fear, The Weather Underground. What are you thinking?
I 100% think they're going to usher in Michelle Obama. I've heard Hillary Clinton and a lot of my friends think Newsom. I think it's going to be Obama.
Well, it
And I
can't
don't
be-
think Biden's made a decision the last 4 years. I think the Obamas have been making them
It
for
won't be
him.
Newsom because you're not going to pass over the first black female vice president for a white guy. And Newsom, while he can raise money and he has the look, he doesn't
So
have
that's
the
why
name recognition.
I'm saying Michelle because it replaces Kamala. You got a black woman. again.
I think this, well, that would quell the civil war that's brewing in the Democrat Party if it's Michelle Obama. The question is, does she want it? That's the real question. If she wants it, it's hers for the taking.
think she
I don't
does.
think she does. I think she likes the
think she
lifestyle.
does.
She likes the glamorous life that she lives now. She likes the parties. She doesn't like
She'll
Washington,
still
D.C. and the
have it.
politics.
They had rap night every
Wait, you mean
Wednesday
Michelle?
during the Obama.
Michelle Obama.
See,
yeah.
I don't think Kamala wants it. I don't
No,
think she.
I
I don't
think-
think she wants anything to do with this.
Oh, I think she wants it. I think that she is
But
so
she's not
deluded.
capable.
How embarrassing is that to Kamala Harris that they're saying, well, the only reason we're not really invoking the 25th Amendment against the dementia patient is because Kamala Harris is the vice president.
That's right.
That's got to be demoralizing for her.
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to take a short break. We're going to talk about presidential immunity. We're going to talk about the 1512 J6 decision, which is going to benefit hundreds of J6ers. And we're going to talk about other topics. And then we got Trevor Loudon, big anti-commie from New Zealand. He's coming here to the warehouse next Tuesday, so don't
Very
go
excited.
anywhere. We'll be right back.
America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine, and you've seen that. But it was through divine inspiration that it kind of happened. Sometimes life throws, you get some things. America First Warehouse was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine, and you've seen that. But it was through divine inspiration that it kind of happened. Sometimes life throws, you get some things and tragedy hits, and all of a sudden you got to rethink and kind of look at things a little differently. But we wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. You go out into the world, the frustration, the tension, and anxiety is pretty brutal, for most. And how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Prayer for sure, but we give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Trevor, we're actually live on the air, everybody. I have Trevor Loudon on the phone with us. He's going to join us in a few minutes. Trevor, can you just stand by and I'll make sure that email goes to you right away? We were at a break. Thank you so much, and I'll reach out again in a few minutes if I don't see it. We're going to do video. You're going to come on our Zoom here and join us. We're here with Nick Giordano from the PAS report. And we've got Teresa Helfrich from the warehouse. So we'll see you in a few. Thank you. All right, everybody. That was the great Trevor Loudon. And we are going to talk right now about the incredible Supreme Court decisions that have come down. Again, the media is unhinged. Trump has immunity, but right? He has immunity. You still have an impeachment process that you can be, brought under, and you could still be voted out as president by Congress, right?
Well, it's amazing because the
So
Supreme
he's not
Court
gonna be a
didn't do
dictator.
anything that's been happening for the last 230 plus years.
Right.
I mean,
So
since
what's
the
there's
founding.
nothing really new here.
No, there isn't anything new. And it was just the Supreme Court saying, listen, if president's acting within their official capacity, they're immune from prosecution. but there's also the obvious things that the president wouldn't be immune from. And the idea, the Democrats, they saw how well fear worked with COVID, that they're trying to apply fear here. The idea that President Trump would be a dictator is absolutely laughable. Does anyone think that the bureaucracy would allow President Trump to be a dictator? Does anyone think that they would allow it? And the answer is obviously not. These people are a bunch of frauds, and they're the ones with the dictatorial tendencies. They're the ones with the authoritarian tendencies.
It's always a projection, right? He's the threat to democracy, but they're the one putting political opposition in jail everywhere.
But not only are they
Right.
putting political opposition in jail, they were the ones that locked us down in the blue states. They were the ones that kept kids out of school. They were the ones
and
that
concentrated their power.
Correct. They were the ones that called for the censorship of millions of Americans that were speaking out, including people that were right, like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Martin Koldroff. So when you look at it, they are truly the ones that are authoritarians. They want to expand the surveillance state. I don't know how many of you saw a report by American First Legal last week where they're trying to, the Homeland Security Group, led by Brennan and Clapper, were trying to figure out ways to infiltrate communities, to get family members to turn on other family members and report
like
them.
the KGB in Moscow.
And Saddam
That's right.
Hussein's Iraq.
Block captains.
I mean, I still take it as a win, though, because at least it shows the world that we're honoring the Constitution in some sense, finally. I mean, I was happy for the win yesterday, hearing the Supreme Court.
Well,
rule on that.
it was major, and the J6 decision on Friday, another big decision. There's been like 170 J6ers convicted under this statute, right? And maybe up to 300, 350 people may be vindicated.
So many will be vindicated, but many of them already served their time. So there's no recourse they have.
Yeah.
They'll get it taken off their record, but it's not like they have any type of recourse for the false imprisonment that they had to face. This was always something that was very concerning, that you're using a statute that was created after the financial disaster of Enron to target J6ers, many of whom it was simple trespassing
Yeah, the whole
incidents,
thing was
where they should have received the summons. They maybe pay a
Yeah.
fine if they were trespassing, and that's it. You engage in violence, that's a different story. So it was always a ruse, and thankfully the Supreme Court showed that it was a ruse. In fact, I was actually shocked that Justice Jackson actually sided
That's right.
with the conservatives and said that, hey, it's unconstitutional. You can't charge them with these types of things. And so,
What's up with Amy Coney Barrett?
Well, her and Kavanaugh tend to switch
They
off,
do.
right? One of them always moves towards the left on certain issues, certain cases. I don't know if it's what they really believe or they're worried that they're going to get the far-right conservative label. Who knows? But some of her decisions I question. But this is the beauty of the Supreme Court.
It is.
You have the President of the United States that says you can't attack the justice system, then goes on a tongue lashing against the Supreme Court, brags about how he overthrew this disregarded Supreme Court rulings. But the beauty of the Supreme Court is that I don't care what decision is being made, you can never predict where the justices are going to rule, which side. And we see constantly where we think that the left wing of the court will vote for the left, and yet one surprises us. Same thing happens on the right, and that's the beauty of the Supreme Court of the United States.
So, I don't want to go ahead of you.
Finish your thought, Teresa.
Well,
We're going to bring in Trevor.
okay, we got real quick. I asked Gary McBride, he's a very good expert, friend of the Warehouse, about his opinion on this. He's been following since the beginning, very heavily involved with the J6, the whole thing. And what I was told was, so Guy Reffitt, he was the first one arrested.
Yep.
And we're good friends. His wife comes here, very good friends of ours. They believe he's going to be resentenced, and they're just going to come down on him harder for other things. So we're not out of the water just yet.
No,
Apparently.
and people are going to continue to be arrested.
They are.
So
Doubling
the
down.
whole thing is very tragic here, but at least Congress may be taking this head on now, finally.
But it's a terrifying aspect of what the justice system has done at a time where we know that multiple terrorists have crossed our borders. We know we've
Up
been
to
infiltrated.
600 suspected ISIS.
Correct. And there was an ISIS smuggler from Turkey. We don't know whatever happened to that ISIS smuggler. And you have all these cases. You have the FBI director, who I'm not a fan of, but he is going out there sounding the alarm bells of the threat of international terrorism from radical Islamic extremists. Yeah. And yet you have the Biden administration, Department of Justice. Remember, for years they were telling us that it was J6ers that represent the biggest threat. One day, one moment at a time.
Well,
that didn't
Janet
happen again.
Napolitano really started that, and DHS, and saying that, and look at the Patriot Front, how phony they are with their fake shields that were made in a Hollywood studio and all the crap. So we have Trevor Loudon with us. Trevor Loudon is a writer, a blogger, respected voice out there and about communism and the threats to democracy. Trevor,
A
how are you
filmmaker and
today?
author, right?
Yes. Do we have your audio?
Hi guys.
Hi, Trevor.
Good to be with you.
Hi.
It's great to have you here. We look so much forward to having you next Tuesday here, July 9th at the America First Warehouse. Go to the americafirstwarehouse.com/events. Get your tickets now. And we're going to show Trevor's incredible movie, Enemies Within. Right, Trevor? What's going on?
Yep. Well, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it tremendously. Being up there. The Enemies Within deals with the communist and Islamist threats to America. And we're seeing that all the time now, aren't we? We're seeing these Hamas rallies where the communist groups are working with the Islamist groups because they both hate America, they both hate Israel, and the mask is off now. We're seeing it right in front of us. So I'm looking forward to talking about that and other threats to the nation.
Yeah, we went from Dearborn to sleeper cells to the Holy Land Foundation funding terrorism in the early 2000s, 9/11. And now we have, when you say the enemies within, it resonates because we've got open anti-Semitism and open pro-Hamas movements in America, right, Trevor?
Yeah, look, absolutely. They're in colleges all over the country. They're being supported by major politicians. The Democratic Party has pretty much gone in with these people. It isn't just AOC and Ilhan Omar. This anti-Israel sentiment is now right in the very heart of the Democratic Party, from Joe Biden down. So we're in a revolution right now, guided by both Marxists and Islamists to take down the country. They're using illegal immigration, they're using violence, they're using riots. And I believe we're going to start to see a lot more kinetic stuff between now and the election. And especially if Trump gets elected, that lame duck period between Trump taking over and Biden taking office, I think there'll be violence all over the country, and we need to be prepared for that.
Nick, you have any questions?
Well, I just say, when you look at what's going on in France, that you're seeing something very similar there with the leftists and the Islamists, and it was all predictable, was it not, Trevor? I mean, you've been speaking out about this for years.
Well, yeah, look, I just read their stuff. I read the Marxist stuff. I read the Islamist stuff. They've been working together for decades. Their enemy is us and Israel and Europe. And they're basically working on taking us down. This hasn't been a secret,
No.
but the left has been able to sort of, deflect from it and keep it under control. But now the mask is off so much because the revolutionaries are so confident now that we're really seeing it. It's very hard to ignore now.
Teresa?
So true. So I saw that you've been doing this for about 30 years now, and I'm just wondering what started 30 years ago. What did you see, or what sparked you to really delve into, I guess, becoming an expert on this stuff, terrorism, Marxism?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. See, look, I come from New Zealand originally, and our country was saved during World War II by your fathers and grandfathers and uncles who stopped the Japanese at Guadalcanal, the Coral Sea and Midway. So we're very grateful to America. But in the 1980s, we elected a socialist Labour government, and they basically cancelled the United States, the Australia, New Zealand, United States military alliance. Just basically told, Yanks get out, Yanks go home.
Wow.
And while I was opposing this, I was very opposed to this. And while I was researching it, I met a Dutch New Zealander who had infiltrated the New Zealand Communist Party for our security services. So he was a government spy inside the Communist Party. In 1983, he was sent to Moscow to train at Lenin's Institute for Higher Learning, the Lenin School. And that's where they planned New Zealand's anti-American legislation. That was planned from Moscow.
Yeah.
Now, what he basically
Go on.
Well, what he basically taught me was this. Whatever you see coming out of the Democratic Party, the British Labour Party, the Canadian Liberal Party, comes from the communist movement. So the communists set a policy, they make it Labour Union policy, and the unions make it Democratic Party policy.
Yeah, so
And you can see this in every way, from nuclear deal with Iran to open borders to fracking bans. The communists set the policy, they make it union policy, the unions make it Democrat policy. The unions are the transmission belt of communism to the masses. And I started studying that process.
yeah.
That's when I discovered the ties between Barack Obama and Frank Marshall Davis. And I
Yep.
started writing books, started coming to America. But that's where it led from, back in
Thank
the
you.
80s.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's an incredible journey. This goes to also the watermelon, right? You got red in the middle
Yes.
for Marxism and green on the outside for Hamas and the Islamic State, or the climate change agenda, which you can
Yeah.
swap
Yeah,
them
they're
out.
both watermelon movements, aren't they?
Yeah.
The Islamists and the environmentalists.
Yeah, and the Hydra, the propagation across Europe, after being repelled out of Vienna and the West. This is a resurgence of the caliphate. So we have Ben Bergquam, my co-host, on the ground in Calais, France, and in England, and he's watching small boats come across from France to England, and he's provided incredible stuff to us in the last week or two. And then you got Nigel Farage. Is England lost, or is the resurgence of Nigel Farage meaningful?
Well, I think it is because, and I know Ben Bergquam very well, actually. But yeah, this is what we're seeing in Europe is a wave of basically grassroots populism who are sick of the weak conservatives and the socialist left.
Yeah, go on, Trevor.
Yeah, so what you're seeing basically now is a rebellion by the grassroots people against the weak conservatives and the socialist left and the globalists. British people want to be British. Canadians want to be Canadians. French want to be French. Brazilians want to be Brazilians, and Americans want to be Americans. And so all around the world, we're seeing this revolt against these centralist, globalist tyrants, and our weak conservatives are supposed to be standing up for us.
Yeah.
And so that's why you see Farage rising. That's why you see the rise of Trump, who is very much a Republican outsider. This is why you see
Marine Le Pen. Right, Marine Le Pen in France. Nick?
Yeah, listen, you ignore the people for only so long before people really start to get fed up. And that's what these societies have done. Do you feel that Western civilization has so much self-inflicted damage that it's hard to overcome? Or do you think we're actually turning a corner and the West will survive, that the West will be able to overcome this nightmare?
Well, look, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I do think there is a lot more of us than there are of them. And the left has overplayed its hand. Trump forced the left out in the open. He forced the deep state out in the open. Right. Had Hillary Clinton become president, we would already be gone and we wouldn't know why. Well, Trump made them show their hand. We had COVID for 2 years where people were reading their kids' school textbooks in horror, watching the cities burn, watching their elections stolen. And I talk to all around the country, and I tell you, there are millions of people now who have finally woken up to the fact that we could lose this country. And that's a sleeping giant that's been aroused. So I'm very hopeful for the future, but we cannot be naive or complacent. us. We have to work like dogs to make this happen.
What about New Zealand? New Zealand took a hard turn to the left. Is there any hope there?
Yeah, well, we had a Marxist Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern. Then we had a Maoist Prime Minister, Christopher Hipkins. Now we've got a moderate conservative Prime Minister called Christopher Luxon, who has done a lot to turn back the left. But we got to say, New Zealand conservatives are more like moderate Democrats. They're not American conservatives. We don't have quite the same. But so, yes, there is a lot of hope for New Zealand. New Zealand is a lot better off than it was a year ago. But New Zealand needs a revolution just like America does. I mean, a peaceful freedom revolution. So we're on the way, but we've got a Marxist in Australia, Anthony Albanese. We've got a socialist in Canada, probably about to get a socialist prime minister in Britain. So really, it's up to America and New Zealand to lead the way now. We gotta lead the way in those key countries.
I mean, it's really true, right? If America fails, the world fails. It's true. We have a big responsibility here, and we support you from across the seas.
Yeah.
Well, I live here now, but yeah, my wife is American. But yes, that's why I'm here, because if I want to save New Zealand, we have to save America.
Well, that's why I brought up Nigel Farage.
Sorry?
That's why I brought up Nigel Farage. So what's the dynamic going to look like for England?
Well, it depends how much of leverage. It really depends how it goes. Keir Starmer, the Labour guy, is likely to win, and he is a Marxist, Trotskyist. Went to Czechoslovakia in 1986.
Yeah.
Got his name on the Czech intelligence files over there. He tries to be a moderate Democrat, but a moderate Labour person, but he's not. He's hard left. The Conservatives are probably going to be reduced. It really depends on what happens with Farage, whether he can get enough for maybe a bit of a balance of power or to have some influence there. It's really up in the air. We won't know till Saturday, really. But all power to him. I hope he does very, very well in the election and gets quite a few seats to at least give him that balance of power. Because, that's a classic example. Weak Conservatives, a socialist Labour government, and the populists, the people are getting behind Farage.
Okay. Well, Trevor, we're very excited for you to come here next week. We're going to have a nice crowd for you, and I'm going to put this on Real America's Voice News so the rest of the country will see our interview, and we're going to show your movie. We have about 1 minute. Tell us about your movie.
Yeah, Enemies Within. You can get my stuff on trevorloudon.com, my books, my videos. It's basically dealing with the Islamist and Marxist takeover of the Democratic Party. I say there's about 100 members of Congress, 40 US senators, and most of Biden's cabinet who couldn't pass a background check to drive a school bus. They have Marxist backgrounds, Islamist backgrounds, and they are revolutionaries. And all they have to do to get they have to win one more election and legalize 30 million illegal immigrants and turn them all into Democrats, and they'll basically have what they want. So that's what the movie is about.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to think that.
It is, and the census is going to change, right? Nick, you have a final comment? We have 30 seconds.
Well, yeah, I agree with everything Trevor's saying, and I think it's important that we do look at actually the education system that has created this problem of so many uninformed people out there that have just been programmed to trust government and believe Marxist theories when they can't even define Marxism themselves.
Yeah,
Yep.
Trevor, thank you so much. Safe travels next week. We're going to pick you up at the airport, and we're going to kidnap you for a day and a half.
And you're going to come to
Yeah,
the
I'm
greatest
looking
place on
forward
earth.
to it immensely. I really am.
Right, you're going to be blown away when you come to the
Sure
America
are. We're
First
sending-
Warehouse.
I've seen some photographs of the venue. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's incredible. Joe the Box, the inspiration of Joe and his family. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful 4th of July.
Well, thank you so much. Same to you guys. Look forward to seeing you all next week and your friends on Long Island.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll be right back with closing remarks. Thank you for joining
And-
us.
and
The
Elena
America First
Rasuva.
Warehouse.
was really the most patriotic venue that you can ever imagine, and you've seen that. But it was through divine inspiration that it kind of happened. Sometimes life throws, you get some things and tragedy hits, and all of a sudden you got to rethink and kind of look at things a little differently. But we wanted to build something for people to be able to come to and feel so comfortable and so relaxed, because there is nothing out there like it. You go out into the world, the frustration, the tension, and anxiety is pretty brutal, for most. And how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it? Prayer for sure, but we give an opportunity for people to really feel good about themselves and about this great country.
Hi, I'm Kevin Sorbo. Now, many of you remember me as Hercules, facing incredible odds for the world that he cherished. But today, I'm stepping into a different role. Not as a mythical hero, but as a fellow American. I'm inviting you to embark on a mission crucial to our nation's future. At this pivotal moment, America stands at a crossroads. Our unity, values, and vision for tomorrow are being tested. It might seem like the weight of the world is too heavy for one person to lift, but history shows us that it's the courage of individuals that has always illuminated the path forward. The call for heroes is more urgent than ever. Not the mythical ones, but real-life individuals like you, ready to uphold what's right, champion truth, and unite in protecting our beloved nation. This is your moment. Your journey as a modern-day hero starts right now. Stand with AMAC and let's show the world the power of true heroism in action. Visit amac.us/hero to join AMAC. Be the hero our country needs.
Welcome back to the weekly podcast for the America First Warehouse. We're here with Nick Giordano from the PAS Report. What's your website?
PASreport.com. I keep it simple for people.
PASreport.com. He's got the best guest on there, international
Jonathan
notoriety.
Turley last week.
Turley's
John
the
Solomon
best.
this week.
Solomon, you go. Teresa Helfrich from the America First Warehouse, keeping it all together here. We're so honored to have with us a friend and a friend to the warehouse. We have Elena Rusova with us. She's an incredible artist, fled communism. Elena, how are you? Can she hear us? Hi, Elena. Well, we're gonna.
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Elena Rusova, how are you? It's so great to see you again. So you have so many incredible pieces of art here. Teresa, you're going to say?
I was going to say hi to my beautiful friend, Elena. How are you? And yes,
Hi,
we do
I
have
miss
her
you.
beautiful art behind us. I mean, this art is like the best stuff we ever saw.
Yeah, Elena,
I'm honored.
we've been interacting for many years. We spoke to, you invited me to speak at Mar-a-Lago to the American Vietnamese organization, Vietnamese Americans for Trump, because 400,000 boat people died leaving Vietnam to fight for their freedom. And a lot came here, and they opened businesses in the West Coast and across Michigan and other areas of the United States, Wisconsin. And, they see communism coming here. And I want to thank you so much for that. It was an incredible night. What inspires you to do your art?
To do my art. So I'm an immigrant, as you know, first wave legal immigrant. I came here chasing my American dream. So for people from post-communistic area, from ex-Soviet Union countries, for us, when we started to figure out and see how America really looks like, not how Soviet propaganda actually showed us for decades, we just fell in love with this country. And it was for us, American dream, to come here and achieve our goals and live free, live how we want and do what we want, respecting our new homeland. So when I came here, I just wanted to live my life without any rules from post-communistic countries, of course. And everything was fine, actually, and I enjoyed my hard work. I knew that I'm gonna make my dreams come true. But then we got built back better stuff, which basically flipped not only mine, but a lot of other people and legal immigrants' American dream in American nightmare. Because all of you see and all of us feel how all prices went up, how it's just cosmic prices for house, which a lot of people cannot afford now buy. So we are just struggling, trying to survive somehow through all this dark age, you know.
Yeah.
And when I started to paint patriotic art, I was far away from any politics. I just respected Donald Trump as a person. I just admire his ability to extend his experience as a businessman to whole country and make all people and citizens be able to earn money and to live their life. So I just started to paint a collection dedicated to, for me, hero of my life, hero of modern time, Donald Trump. And then I first time faced cancel culture when I couldn't schedule my art show for 6 months in Manhattan because all art galleries, all pop-up stores just rejected me because of subject of matter. So here I got cultural shock because for me, liberals, Democrats, it was something about people who love freedom, who are pro freedom of speech, who are pro-constitution. They are so free and so amazing. And then I faced just total ignorance and boycotting from them. And then I started to dig deeper in this stuff, and I understood that modern, at least Democrats and liberals, which for me didn't make any sense, they are not pro-freedom, they are not pro-America, they're full of hate, they hate their own homeland, they hate this land, they hate white people, they hate any freedom, they hate actually everything what was represented and established by founding fathers. And it just inspired me to paint more and more. After I received tons of messages with death threats, I just decided to keep going because you know what? Nobody can cancel me. I came here from over the seas. I chased my American dream.
I have a question
no one
about
has
that.
right to do this.
When you first wanted to come to the United States, how long did it take you between the application and actually getting here? And what do you think about the millions upon millions of people that are now just crossing the border illegally because we don't have a border anymore?
It's actually insane. It's not about freedom limitation. It's about just follow law and obey law and respect other country. I filed here petition first time. I came here many years as a tourist. I earned good money in Moscow. I was working in top management of international companies, and I had the ability to come here and to other countries as a tourist. So I just fell in love with America. And then I decided that I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna see if this country really, like, we will work for each other. I took my time. I filed a visa as a student. I came here to study English because all my life I was studying German language, so I didn't speak English. It was a big part of my integration in this life. So I was studying for half year. I was looking if it fits me or it doesn't fit me. And after that, I started to file my paperwork as a permanent resident of the United States. It was a long process. I followed all rules. I followed and obeyed all law. I respected everything, each step. So I did everything right with the immigration process. And, you know, before even I came here as a tourist, I got checked by American embassy in Russia. They checked my background, that I have zero crime. They checked that I have my own property and not just somebody homeless. They checked money on my bank account. They checked my employer, that it's real company, and my employer keeps for me my workspace, even if I have some vacations. So they made sure that I come here healthy, that I come here with enough money to support myself, to not to sit on the neck of you guys, of citizens who pay their taxes, and that I'm not dangerous for your nation.
Yeah.
Not healthy-wise, not money-wise, not if you talk about crime. So when I came here many times, and I was passing a border many times legally. So your country, now it's my country, it accepted me and my child, right? But now when I see how people just run through the border, and you know what? It's not only about how they are crossing, trying to cross through these holes. It's not by accident. I see in Telegram a lot of chats, group chats. There's thousands of people, they sit over there, they discuss, they fake political asylum cases.
Yeah.
They have
Mostly-
already shot taxi drivers
Elena,
who will drive them, who will drop them. They
mostly-
have a whole system over there built.
Yeah, the political asylum stuff is BS these days. We have about a minute and a half left. Teresa, you want to ask Elena something?
So real quick, just so the audience knows, as soon as we're done with Elena, we are going to pick a raffle ticket because the painting in the canvas in the middle is a raffle. The rest around her are original paintings. I do love your story, Elena, that you are following the true American dream that, what this country was founded on. And I know that you are going to be doing some work with the Trump campaign. Can you speak on that briefly before we go?
Yes. I will collaborate with the Trump team, and I will work all over the country. I assume I will start with Georgia and Arizona, and probably after that South Carolina and other states. I'm gonna work till election day, just inspiring people to vote for Trump because, as I see, a lot of it's not about how crazy Democrats are. It's about how a lot of Republicans are afraid to go and say what they think. I want to inspire them, not just to prove that Trump is right and he didn't do anything wrong. All people with working brain, they know it already. But I want to explain them how communism looks like. It's a very bad idea. Now they sit and do nothing. They cannot act like they acted in 2020. It's a huge mistake, and it's really turning point for whole country. I don't want to see United States to collapse as Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah, Elena, we're going to pick the
are.
raffle now. You want to do that,
So
Teresa?
really quick,
we only
Elena-
have about a minute and a half
And
left.
Elena is going to come back and see us after she goes on that tour with Trump, the Trump campaign, and she's going to come back and give us a full account of what's
and
going
I hope
on,
we
right?
see you soon here at the warehouse.
We've
and
been
we'd love
shaking
to
these
see
up.
you.
There's a lot of very excited people who entered this raffle. They can't wait. And also, while the audience is
pull it. Do it.
listening, we do want to say that Trump uses this picture, right, of his
Yeah.
painted face in his Truth Social profile pic.
Yep.
So
And X profile and Instagram profile. So it's basically it's the most famous painting in whole world now.
While we pick the
All right.
raffle in 15 seconds, where can our viewers follow you on social media and the web?
Megalangela.
Magalangela.
Just find me and follow me, Megalangela.
So we're letting
Yep.
David Zier pick this because last time Nick Giordano picked the raffle, the last raffle. So we're going to let David Zier pick this raffle. Good luck and thank you for supporting our fundraiser here at the warehouse. You are in for a
Always.
treat. Whoop.
Always. Let's make
All
America
right,
great
the
again.
winner is, oh my God, Denise Santiago. She's one of the patriots from the warehouse here. Denise, you won.
Yay.
Elena Rucifer, your work is wonderful. Everybody go check it out. Magalangelo on social media, right? So we'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you for
Safe
having
travels
me.
on your journey.
Bye, Elena.
Thank you.
So
See you
everybody, yes, go to the AmericaFirstWarehouse.com. Check out all the great events. We have a very exciting thing with the pastors from around the country on July 13th. We've got Trevor Loudon next Tuesday.
July 9th.
And in 15 seconds, what else we have coming?
July 11th, we're taking a caravan to the city to support Donald Trump's sentencing day. There's a special limited edition shirt. You can get that on our website, too. We do have the Mordecai Mission. It's a Christian political initiative on the 13th. Please check that on our website. There is a tab there. We have great events coming down the pike with AMAC, Moms for Liberty, Board of 911. There's a lot of things coming down the pike. Very exciting times here at the warehouse.
Very exciting. Thanks for joining the weekly podcast. Go check out PASreport.com. Nick Giordano's got great guests. I'm David Zier with the America First Warehouse and Real America's Voice News. And thank you, Teresa Helfrich,
Thank you.
for
God
keeping
bless
it
you
all
all.
together.
Congratulations,
And a
Denise. I
shout
can't
out
wait to call you.
Joe the Box.
Yes, absolutely.